While people are dusting themselves off and suspiciously watching the weather, we just got back from Garfield County and a Lahoma Field Day, where experts are helping producers get prepared for this year's harvest.
Probably isn't quite as good as Shocker. I think Shocker's a little better grazing weight. The other thing that Shocker has going for it.
Well, Tom, a few weeks ago we got the opportunity to drive from Woodward back to Stillwater, and there's canola everywhere. Everywhere we came around, there's a couple dozen plots we saw.
Yes, Austin, there's a lot more canola across the state of Oklahoma this year. The acreage is somewhere around 85,000 acres. And of course, it's very conspicuous when the fields are just full of blooms in April and the fields look just beautiful. And they are. We like to see a solid mass of blooms out there because every bloom is one pod and every pod's full of seeds, and that's what we want to see for a good crop.
And that's what we're looking at now. We're past that bloom stage. We're really getting to a lot of pod development. Where is things in the development of this crop?
Well, we are about halfway between full bloom and ready to swath this crop. A lot of the growers, when the seed starts to turn brown and they look at their seed swathing guide, they will swath this with a draper swather, let it dry down, and come back and pick it up with a combine. Others will come in and simply push it over to keep it from blowing in the wind so much, and they'll wait for it to mature and pick it up that way. But right now this year, the prospects look really good for the crop. It's had plenty of moisture. The pods are filling real nicely. We've had some hail damage on, seeing some things where you see these little white spots. Yeah. We might miss a seed there, but what we've learned over the years is that with our newer varieties of canola, they're really tough. Last year, when so much of the wheat froze out and it looked like the canola had frozen too, we saw that the canola came right back, and 2 weeks later was in full bloom again, even in fields where the wheat had been lost. We first started 8 years ago with canola now, and we were using the best varieties that we had. But over that period of time, the varieties now that we're growing are just a whole lot better than those early ones that we had back then. They're higher yielding, they're more winter hardy, they're more tolerant to low pH. We have varieties that are resistant to the residues of wheat herbicides, for example. So we have a spread out maturity range in our varieties now. So back in those days, we only had 3 varieties to plant. And you send here in this variety test, we have about 20 choices now. So we're making a lot of progress fast.
It's a lot better options for producers that way.
Oh yes, yes. Our whole purpose is to give producers better options, and we've been doing that with canola.
Well, I guess one of the things we need to talk about there is, in addition to the variety testing we're doing, there's a new Oilseed Commission. And tell us about how that got started.
Well, the Oilseed Commission really came by the insistence of the canola growers. The canola growers themselves got together and formed the Great Plains Canola Growers Association. Well, then they decided that it would be a good idea if there was more funding for research and education purposes, and so they approached the state legislature about forming an Oilseed Commission, and that has been put into place now. And basically they'll be administering funds to canola and sunflower research and educational efforts. So this is something that's just coming along as we increase our acreage of canola. We expect the acreage to at least double again by this next fall, and it may increase more than that. Okay. It's been a challenge to us to get people on the ground to work with the farmers one-on-one, and that's what we've been doing there at OSU, putting people into the state to work with growers one-on-one to solve all the little problems and questions that come up, especially the first time they grow the crop.
Well, really, you say one of the things we should do is get folks out there to see what their neighbors are doing, see how they're harvesting, seeing what's working.
Yes, that's the best teacher is your neighbor. And the best thing to do there is just to get out and see what's going on across the fence from you. It isn't so hard now. You don't have to drive very far to find a friend who's growing canola, and just visit with them, ask them how they're doing things, kind of keep watch on the field. You can learn a whole lot just by watching.
All right, Tom, thank you so much. The crop's looking really good. We can't wait to see what comes next.